Howdy, everybody. We are back, and we're actually on my channel this time versus Ethereal's channel. Dustin, our esteemed boss, is not here tonight. He is actually recovering because he's been packing boxes for weeks. So I do want to give a big shout out to Dustin too today because I actually got a notice already on my box coming in. So I am so excited because you know why? I'm going to be able to do my review finally. Because when I do because when I do my reviews, I actually like to have the comic book in my hand when I do the review, so it's going to help out a lot. So I appreciate you, Dustin. I hope you get some time off. You deserve it, brother. Get some rest. But tonight, we have with us Mr. Hunter Bladen, and he's going to be drawing tonight. And then Miss Shawnee down at the bottom. Down here,
again.
So. All right. And so this is it. This is our crew for tonight. April can't make it either. She's busy. So she had to do some other things. So you are stuck with us. So the derelicts.
The problem children.
Exactly.
Well, except for Bladen, he's not a problem child. He's a wild child, but he's not a problem child.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. So, all right, Bladen. So we're going to look at what you're drawing. So, all right.
I'm going to do this first, and then I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to try to not go too overboard with it, and then I'm going to start working on one of the Kill Cam pages. So this is Daphne from Kill Cam Space Cowgirls, currently live right now, and this is also Daphne from Space Cowboys, Kill Cam Space Cowboys. So, yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So it's Daphne-centric tonight.
See the bottom because that's where I'm working from. All right. This is my work area.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So everybody, if you haven't had a chance, go by and support the Kickstarter. I'm going to put the link in the comments today, so we can get this pushed up. So currently we are at. Let's see here, $7,168, and with 142 backers, 6 days to go. So we have already hit one of the stretch goals, being the trading cards. The next stretch goal is at 10,000 for the stickers and the 14,000 for the additional pages. So there's a lot to choose from on this Kickstarter. So definitely go support it out there. We've got Underland 2, and then we got Kill Cam. You know, who else? Where else are you going to get a female Lobo, bounty hunter with two sisters, trying to beat up a bunch of bad guys and actually get paid to do it?
And we get to watch all the fun happen.
That's right. It's like a dream job.
And then, of course, you got Underland 2 as part of this one. Having Lieris doing the interiors this time. So definitely going to be fun. She's got an amazing style. If you've never read Rain, Rain is a good way to get introduced to her style. Or if you've seen some of her covers that she does with Epicos. But you're in for a treat because I've already read it. And so I already know what's going to come. I'm not allowed to spoil nothing yet. So
yes, no spoilers.
You can tell everyone how good it is, though, right?
Huh?
You can tell everyone how good it is, though, right?
Oh my gosh! If you enjoyed the preview and you enjoyed 1, you're in for a real ride with number 2. Like from start to end, it's gonna go like that book's gonna go through so much in a lot of time really fast, especially with Tweedledum and Tweedledee. You guys are gonna have a blast with that one. And good Lord, they are some deranged fools as well.
It's good that our fan base is into that, though.
That's the selling point. Deranged fools.
Yeah, they are. They are deranged as it gets.
Yeah. The sneak peeks and the preview pages and everything else. Yep, it's that creep factor is definitely dialed up.
Yep.
Especially with the Mad Hatter, trying to teach Alice what to do. and it's like there's a certain amount there. It's like, how far is she gonna go? Let her go to see how it's gonna turn. Because like if it's fun, if you think about it, like in the most Alice stories, typically you've got there's the Mad Hatter always doing something, but it's really the rabbit is usually the biggest part of the story. Trying to you got to get here on time. You got to do this. You got to do that. And so I'm expecting to see a lot more of that in the future.
Mm.
Well,
Okay.
the White Rabbit in that one's pretty gnarly. I don't know. He's
Mhm.
scary.
And so we're going to see a whole lot coming in. So Shawnee, wanted to ask you a question. So,
All right.
what have you thought so far as for Underland and for If It Hops? Have you been impressed with the stories, or what do you think so far?
So I can go with If It Hops because I've actually read. I've read those, and so I really enjoy the story. I think the page and stuff. I'm hooked. I want to know. I love the introduction of the new characters, and I'm like, I want to know what happens. I want to know who the creepy guy is. What's going on with that? So Agency, of course, is badass and amazing, and it's a lot of things. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. Underland, I read the preview. I have not actually. I realize I don't have the digital. I usually kind of focus on that and doing that. I realized I didn't get the digital of #1 yet, so I missed it. So I'll have to catch up on that one and do that. So, but the preview was really awesome. So again, that creep factor is there. It's an interesting take on Alice in Wonderland, and I'm looking forward to seeing just not to be too punny, but literally just how far down the rabbit hole this story is going to take us. Because it's going in some really dark and different directions, which is interesting in that regard. So it's twisty. It's definitely twisty, and it's not your usual story. So I'm looking forward to seeing how. I mean, I don't guarantee. I guess all the characters. I don't know if they're safe, which is probably not, but it'll be interesting to see what growth, if any, happens with some of the creepier ones. Because there's always usually some sort of growth and transformation and relationship and everything else. I know it's just kind of weird to say for a comic book, but it's in there.
It's not weird. I mean, there's stories about characters, and the characters can be quite human, or they can be very horrific and scary, and you don't want them to be human. So
Exactly. So,
Well, it's like,
and again, If It Hops is the same thing. It's again the relationships I'm really fascinated by. Agency is amazing, but she's badass, but she also has an interesting. There's a backstory you're learning more about, and those relationships are coming more to the fore. And I think it really it broadens her, and it's interesting to see how much more we're going to learn about her and the people around her.
I like that. Yeah. Issue 2. Have people gotten that yet, or I don't know? Is it just out yet, or is it shipped, or is that what he's shipping now? Because I know Dustin's physically packaging and.
He's doing BGD right now and Fallen Leaves. If It Hops 2 hasn't came out yet.
Okay, yeah. When people get their hands on If It Hops 2, they're gonna. It's really crazy. Like things.
He did send out the digital copy of If It Hops too, so that's what I'm going off of. But yes, but the physicals are still. I think they're coming up next after BGD 3 and Fallen Leaves. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, If It Hops 2 was freaking. It was kind of a weird ride. A little bit, to say the truth, because it wasn't focused on C at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't focused on her, but then you get this great backstory in the last pages, for the clan and what happened and why she is the way she is, and it's just kind of terrifying in the end when she just gives in to this, this force of nature, almost like and to get enamored into that magical piece. It's like. Okay, now you see why she has the power she has. But,
you're talking about Ryoshi from the bonus pages? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, to me, that was a great origin story to put in that, because now you know where she got it from and why she is the way she is, Well,
Ryoshi will be joining in If It Hops 3. She'll be joining into the actual book, not just the extra pages. So.
So she'll be more of a starring role, kind of in a way.
She has pages entirely dedicated to her piece that's going on. Wow, everything is crazy. So yeah. So I might have said too much.
No, I think you're good. I mean,
It's just between us and the internet. It's all good.
Yeah. Nobody
Exactly.
tell Dustin. All right.
Yeah, Dustin's gonna yell at me tomorrow. I'll be like, "What did you say?" It's kind of the hard part for me too, is I have to separate what I'm reading now versus what's out now. Uh,
Yeah.
so the one thing that was interesting in those final pages, it shows him getting kicked out of Eden,
Mhm.
and so I wonder
Yeah,
if there's gonna be some retaliation there because of the way they were treated.
Right.
We shall see in
Old
issue
grudges.
3.
We'll see.
Um,
To be continued.
Well, and if you noticed in issue 1, they're not just out in the desert getting by. They are building. They are working. They have
Yep.
military tech, military gear. They're set. Something's going down.
It's more than just survival.
Uh-huh.
They're
Yeah,
flourishing in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they built their own way of doing things, so now it's like now they're going to retaliate. I mean, it's just
We'll
when
see.
you build up a military, it's not for no reason.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Anybody who says otherwise is lying through their teeth.
exactly, because I mean that's the catch-22. Is like I'm retired military, and I guarantee you, when you're in the military, it's like, yeah, you don't just get told to go to a place just for a good happy day.
Mhm.
You know, 18 months later, you get to go home.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to send you here just to take in the scenery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I see a bunch of red sky, a bunch of dust in the air. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. What else do you see? I can't talk about it.
I don't know. I couldn't see it. It was too dusty.
Yeah. Huh.
That's true. Yeah.
A dust storm
Depending on
comes
where
through.
you are, that is definitely a big factor. Yeah.
Mhm.
But what's kind of cool we have coming up next is, my metal girl, Dustin, and Heather's been putting out some pictures and stuff. And I love
Mhm.
that image that they've been showing. As there was actually even a colored one as well that they showed. And I was like, okay, it's very far along. And, it's far enough along that, the Kickstarter will be coming soon for that. So,
Yeah, the primary artist on that is working. They are excited about the project because they're showing us pages, and we're working through stuff and making sure everything's like exactly how it needs to be. But yeah, it's really good. And the colors just make it pop like crazy. They're so good. And so the pencil or the actual artist, he is penciling himself. Or sorry, no, he's coloring it himself. So unlike mine, where I like to do this, and if you make me color this, I will take way too long and hate you. The artist for that one doing his own work, and it looks supreme. It looks so good.
Yes, I think Dustin posted that. There was at least, I think I don't know if it's a preview page, but the first page, and it's the colored of the initial. Yeah, I saw that. I remember seeing the pencils and the essentially the inks, and now the colors. I'm like, ooh.
It's coming together, yeah, and it's going to be really nice.
Really nice. I liked it too how it changed the tone. I mean, colors really. I mean, obviously, but it's fun to know that the artist is doing his all his own. Nothing against you, Blaine. I know because, like you said, each to their own.
Oh yeah.
But I really enjoyed the feel of the pencils. But yeah, the colors. I'm like, it actually was like that makes sense now.
Right, yeah. Well, it puts a little more meat to it. So I mean, I actually absolutely respect all the colors that work with us, and I've worked with Campo, right? Yeah, I've worked with Campo on almost every title we have, and he is just stellar. He's a workhorse as well. So.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you guys
Ooh,
that
show and tell,
picture.
show and tell.
Hey, I like you know me. I always like to show things, so to speak.
Gotta fix my tools here. So yes, show away.
All right, where'd it go?
You have to find it first.
Yeah, well, that is the catch. Is like you download it, it's supposed to go to a certain place, and then it doesn't.
The tech gremlins are always, running amok. So
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. And let's present.
Oh my! Come on. All right.
All right.
I'll make
Can y'all see that?
There it is.
Yep.
Boom.
All right. So yeah, this is the page we were talking about, the little preview page of My Metal Girl, already in color. So that should give you a good feeling when you support these Kickstarters that they're already pretty much done.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, by the time it's going to Kickstarter. But I tell you, Dustin and I were kind of talking about the last panel down here. The Dr. Frankenstein, and the haze coming off of the actual glow. And I was like, all right, we got a wild scientist, doing this in this barn in the middle of a woods, so it's kind of cool to see how this is going to turn out. Only thing I'm waiting on next is, the bride of my metal girl to show up.
Exactly. I have to tell you, when I first saw just the pencils or the roughs that he posted, for when I first saw it, I literally almost thought it was two different things because of the difference between the top of the exterior and then the interior. And it took me, I'm like, wait, oh, is that part? What? It took a minute.
Yeah.
And then that's when the colors, like I said, the colors that I see, that I'm like, oh, got it. Yeah, that shift. So, but it was an interesting, for me, the perception was an interesting shift in perception. So
yeah.
I had to laugh at myself. I'm going, what am I looking at?
Magic of storytelling. That's it.
It is. And that's what I love about Ethereal, is like you don't really know what the hell's really going on until you actually get the book and you actually read through it, or like reading through the story. You're like, oh, okay. And you're still kind of stuck because you're still trying to figure out what's going on in parts of it. Which that's all the good part about being a good writer, is that you're not knowing everything when it first comes out. So that's always a plus thing.
But yeah, you want people to discover stuff. Yeah.
And that's
intentional.
Oh, and now good old Bladen gave me something to show today, so let's show that.
We get double stuff because we're watching him create, and we get to see more stuff.
Yep. Well, it's all related, so it's all good.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
But yeah. Well, I mean, I might be juggling a few different projects here. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure you are. That I have no doubt. You are a very, very busy man.
Yeah. I hurt myself with what I do.
Don't do that.
Okay. So this is the image
cool.
that he gave me. This is a 2-page spread.
Yeah, 2-page spread, and that is one of the pages in the book.
I take it this is Kill Cam.
Yes, correct. Yep.
That's Kill Cam.
I'm recognizing the character and the outfits. I'm like, it looks familiar.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too. When I look at the actual image on this one, like if you try to go in a little bit here, you see the arm on the leg here.
Yeah.
You see how that is. Then you see the armors over here. This gives me that Spawn feeling. Where he has the big leg on one side and a tiny leg on the other.
Mm-hmm. I was going for kind of like big space marine type armor, but maybe she either salvaged it, or maybe she was a space marine and we don't know, and we got to learn more. So it's maybe some opportunity for backstory there later.
Inquiry minds.
Mm-hmm.
I always like backstory because that makes it fun.
Yep.
Same here with this one. So I'll stop sharing that one.
I love all the details and the characters sitting around as well. I mean, your focus, of course, is on the main three, but there's a lot going on in that. Just that.
I stuck in a Muppet. I am not ashamed of that.
You should not be. That's amazing. I can't wait to get out my magnifying glass when I get it and start looking for things.
You didn't even notice, yeah. So that's very sneaky. Nathan's looking.
I love little Easter eggs. Hell? I never find them all, but it's always fun when you do see one. It's like,
oh yeah. there's people's YouTube accounts just dedicated to showing Easter eggs for movies and things, and it's like, that's some fun stuff.
Those are always fun to watch, like especially like if they go back like 30 years in the past in movies.
Dude, yeah.
And you go in the past, it's hard too, because I'm like, I was younger and I'm like, well, I kind of excuse myself when I'm, a little kid and I didn't catch something, but now that I'm an adult, it's like, dang it, how did I miss that?
You can't catch everything. It's not humanly possible.
No, and I don't expect to, which is why I love those, like you said, I love those shows, because I'm like, that's what that is.
Like, oh, wow, awesome. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because then I get to be in the know.
You can let other people know.
We were talking earlier, about Inception, the movie from Nolan, and it's the same thing. There's so many little pieces and parts that I've watched that movie like 3 times, and I still don't catch everything until I go through. I'm like, what the crap?
Yep.
So let me talk to you guys about my favorite piece about Inception. So I think I'm not saying he always does it, but in that one, there's a part where Nolan does not insult the audience, and that's what I think is really important. Is like trusting your audience to pick up on things, or even if they don't have to pick up on it. So when they're in the plane and they put him, like they got him, he's asleep, and they're going to go ahead and start their mission and all that. So Cillian Murphy's sitting in the chair, and Leo grabs the blanket from like the overhead compartment and like flops it on his lap. And they don't say anything. They're not like, oh, let's see if he's asleep still. Let's go ahead and flop this thing on his lap to see if he wakes up, to know if he's asleep or not. He just does it, just boom. And they're like, okay, let's continue on with the with the mission. Sorry, let's say movie. Not wrong, but yes. So that, I think little things like that, if you can do pieces like that, I mean, maybe not everyone will catch it, and that's fine too. But I love that.
I think subtle, sometimes it's fun to have a little in your face, because then everybody gets it and you can share it going he. But I like that. I like even the subtle things like that, because even if not everybody catches it, you may not consciously catch it, but I honestly think a lot of us subconsciously, our little brains go, there's something there.
Yep.
And we may not be able to point it out. And I think, and again, it's a whole part of the suspension of disbelief and being immersed in the movie. And if you aren't cognizant of seeing those little Easter eggs and those little hints, but it affects how you view your perception of the movie or the show or whatever you're watching, then I think then it's a success, because that's it's that subtlety, I think, really can have an impact.
When people say like communication is like a huge percentage just body language versus what the actual words are, and I mean, we don't pick up most of the words that people say, so yeah.
Or that it's like 30% of what you say and 70% of how you say it, or what you look like. So so
it's crazy.
Or something weird, statistics. You can always make those up. So what do I?
Yeah, 80% of statistics are made up right on the spot.
Exactly, but I'm bummed.
Well, and that goes back to listening versus active listening. Actually paying attention to what's actually being said, or actually what's in the visualization of what you're looking at. Like you could miss so many things by, like, if you look away from something, you'd be like, oh crap, I missed something. You try to, and even if you rewind back and you try to watch it again, it's still not the same.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're talking about me watching my YouTube at like double speed in order to try to get through more content, and then going like, oh wait, what did that guy say? That was actually important.
Yep. Yeah, I watch a lot of like horror stuff because I'm a horror fan, so I'll watch reviews on like movies coming out, like which version's going to come out and be the best one to get. So I'm like, okay, that's the one I'll buy to watch because it's got the best, the most special features. And then to be the same thing, like, crap, he said something about something. I was reading something, and and so when you rewind on YouTube, it takes a while. And you have to go play catch up. And if you don't know where it's at, you might as well start listening to halfway over again.
Right? Yeah. Yep. You click the back arrow, but still. Yeah.
Yep. I find too that I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes it's like the actor. So if I'm especially movies, if I'm watching a movie or somebody and they're talking, I believe more what their face says as opposed to what their mouth says. So it's that whole thing. So like, it's like I'm listening and all of a sudden my brain won't always pick up on it. I'll say, oh, then I realize, oh, that's not what they said. Yeah. That's what they look like. And it's like, and it's a little jarring sometimes, but it's interesting when they purposely do that.
You're like, oh, they're lying. They're the bad guys.
Yes. The really good actors, I think, can portray that because their mouths are saying one thing, but they're, like you said, their body language and their face is saying something completely different. And you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, I always find that fascinating when that's a little more obvious.
Yeah. It's weird. It should be obvious, but it's not obvious. But it is like it's like full circle there.
It's a very delicate balance.
Right? Yeah. Do it right, or else we all know you're faking it like bad. But do it right or do it wrong, and whatever.
Yeah. You're like
words, things.
Here, move on.
You got that. All right, we're cool.
The old First Side cartoon. It's like when you talk to a dog and bad dog Ginger, all he goes blah 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 Ginger, blah 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 Ginger.
Yeah.
Want.
Want from Peanuts.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's how I go about my life, anyways, with everybody talking to me normal. So.
Yeah.
That's not
I feel
how
that
my
way.
kids are. They're like, like I just told you. What?
Like, could you do the dishes maybe tonight? Like 4 hours later, like, oh, I'm going to bed. Huh? I didn't hear any dishes being done.
Exactly.
Cool.
Oh, you told me the dishes. When did you say that? I didn't hear you.
I'll do it tomorrow. No, you won't.
No, you're gonna go do them now before you go to bed.
Right.
Dad.
Dad don't play that game here.
Exactly.
I'm not.
You
that
still
kind
get a
of
fair
dad.
amount of eye rolls, though.
Oh, I
You go
do.
do it. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'll go do it. I will. Oh, I hate that when they say, "Oh, I will." No, you're gonna go do it now. There ain't no later.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm onto that game. I've been there, done that. Nope.
We just started having teenagers here, so it's going to be a long trip.
Whew.
Yep.
Sir, I commend you. She's coming along nice, Bladen.
Oh, thank you.
It is.
Knock this one out, and I don't know if it'll be a print or what, but you always gotta try. So this one will be pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it actually. So
you know,
like
that'd be good for like a swimsuit issue.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not allowed to say anything, but there might be. The boss isn't here, so there's going to be some fun stuff coming up later this year for all the Ethereal ladies. So I guess people can start looking ahead to that.
Well, that's a fun thing to look forward to.
Yeah, sorry, big and not very detail laden, but yes, more fun is coming.
Always more fun coming with Ethereal, so that's always.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say anything, but within context, that all makes sense.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm going to smile and nod and agree with you.
Yep. Yeah, don't get in trouble either. Yeah.
And it's just crazy, like how fast you do this too. Like just from pencils to inks, and you're done. It's like
Got to be fast. I'm juggling like 8 projects at once.
well, I know that, but still.
And I want to say, no, I mean, it's not false praise, but that's not an easy pose to make look good.
I have. Let's see. This was a failure. You can't. You can't. That's washed out.
I can't see.
There was a failure. You can see the head and another portion of the anatomy, but the torso is too long, so that was my first failure.
Okay.
Sketch the very basis of the. I was trying to outline like let's do a horizontal something pinup thing. So this was like concept like initially. So
very very thummy thumbnails. Yes.
Everything is just iterative layers of bad to try to get better. So yeah.
Well, your practice sessions work because your final result there that you're working on is.
Yeah, you don't see none of that here.
No, yeah, which we appreciate, but
Yeah.
Yes. But no, I think you hit it. You nailed it on that one. Like I said, that's not an easy one to put together, and it looks very natural.
Thank you. Yeah, I could probably put 4 to 8 books out a month if I was able to just do whatever the hell off the top of my head, like no regard for quality.
It's like, psh, snap it on. That's good.
You want a story? I got a story. Done.
Snap. Well, it's like you did that video the other day, you know, where you were doing the coloring on that little card piece.
The
I think it
Red
was
Monica or
yeah,
the Wren from the story.
Ren.
Yeah,
Ren.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like, and you just got through it. Now, were you on like 3 times speed when you did the video, or just normal?
I'd have to look at it again. That was from the cards. Yeah. What is it? I'm not sure. I'm not that flashlight. Oh man, I can't even find it. Where is it? There it is. This guy. This one. Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
I don't remember. I probably had it on. Am I talking as I'm doing it?
You did a little bit, but it was like very, very brief, I think.
That doesn't help me. I have no idea.
I'll go watch it again. I'll tell you tomorrow when I watch it
Okay.
again.
Until then, I work in mysterious ways.
Exactly.
There we go. We'll go with that. That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
There we go. Done.
You are amazingly fast though, because I mean, a part of that too, I imagine, is like you said, you do a lot of your layouts, you do a lot of practice sessions to make sure you have it right. Because then once you have that concept down, man, most of us are just in amazement, just going, "Holy crap, he's almost done."
Yeah, from zero, from the get go, I have been working to try to fast and efficient, but still with a modicum of quality. And that's my I get it. Like this is a good drawing, but I am a much better storyteller and a much better like setting the pages out and like doing that whole thing. I personally do believe I am much better at that, and that's why I enjoy helping others like Alberti and a few of the others that we have with us. Like I enjoy that part of it, although it's not me sitting there drawing. I enjoy being like, hey, we could do this to try to emphasize this part in the story and this or the other. So that's why I'm very happy to be art director for other folks, because I can critique and tell them the storytelling pieces, but more like cartooning than actual draftsmanship, I think. That's my thing.
And that's the thing too. It's like I've noticed that there's really 2 types of artists lately I've seen: pinup artists and cover artists, and then interior artists. You know, and most interior artists can also always do a cover. You
For the
know,
most part, yeah. And I'm squarely in that camp. I am an interior artist that can also do covers. Like my covers are good, but they're not like the beautiful girl pinup things. Like this is way prettier than most of my stuff.
so that would be the thing. Like I've seen like Underlands one. You know, I've got the Marissa OA for that one. Marissa does great pinups, you know, and stuff like that. So does Mike DeBalfo and those guys. But
well, Greg Bo's like our number one, like, hey, pinup, go. He is that guy for us, and his stuff is so pretty, so good.
And Gwinnell jumps right in, gets the colors done. Same way with Steph and Carrie Ann. I mean, Steph could draw like 30 pinups in a day. Like I watched him on his live stream. Just here. I'm like, done. Next. Done.
Boom. Done.
You know,
that's the industry we're in. That's good.
That is so true.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the hardest part is when you see the people who do the lines, the inks, and the colors. Yeah. That's hard. That's very hard. Like, I mean, April does that, you know, she does all 3, you know, too.
That's very impressive, too. That's 3 completely different skill sets as well. So, mad respect for the people doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you remember in the old Marvel and DC days, you had that. You had 3 different people doing everything half the time. You know, unless you were McFarlane or Sam Keith or Dale Kwan or something like that, where you did everything, or you did by painting, like Arthur Sweden.
Yeah, none of those image guys were coloring their own stuff. All those guys had colorists, although they were one of the first generation to be inking themselves. So
okay.
And that's some of my favorite guys ink themselves as well, like Sean Gordon Murphy, like some of those folks.
I think historically, do some of them do that too as well? Because I mean, again, I'm not as conversed on the history. I mean, it's
For
because
what?
I came into the game later, but I've heard that some of them kind of did it out of necessity because sometimes between doing the lines like the pencils and then the inks, the inks were not a good fit all the time. So some of them,
Yes.
I think, started to
Yeah,
ink
that's
in order to keep the true to their vision of their
yeah.
art that was there. Okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
there's one of my personal like heroes in the art world. He was mentioning that when he was working at DC, there was someone who inked him with a very, very heavy, different type of line than he was trying to lay down, and he was like, "This changes it completely." And he said different words about all that, but he was saying like that was his inspiration to learn to ink himself. Me personally, my pencils when I had applied for, I'd gotten reviews at San Diego Comic Con, and again, this is like 10 years ago. My pencil lines, like the way I do pencils, is very loose and very frenetic. And I mean, my inks are a little more solid, but I was told that an inker would look at my pencil lines and they would have a heart attack. They would look and be like, I don't know where to go with this because this is crazy. And I'm all like, what? It's a drawing. You can't see that? Why not? So I don't know.
Blaine's like, "What's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on.
It's there. Come on."
Just do the look.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just-
actually, it's funny you talk about that because April was looking at that last week or the week before last on some of the storyboards you gave her. He's like, "What's this supposed to be?"
she did.
Don't worry about
That's
it.
true.
Okay, I'm going a lot looser on. Okay, so that's what I gave her. I will. So we're working together. She's helping me out with kind of the middle. I'm giving her pretty much the blue you see under here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's my rough draft. I do those at like this size right here. Like this is like that's my entire layout for the whole page. And then I blow it up, and then like this, I'm doing pencils over it because yeah, it's
Yeah.
gobbledygook. But she's all like, "No, I'll help you out," and I'm like, "You're gonna get the gobbledygook."
And she got the gobbledygook. It was too funny, and she laughed about it. That was true, Nathan.
Yeah.
She did. She was like, she said, "I'm doing my best interpretation of
Yeah.
what I've got here."
Well, and again, and for that one, like I'm telling her to be like, "Hey, just be loose," because again, I'm gonna be inking over it, so I'm gonna be conforming more to the designs we have and all that. So, and it is my line that's gonna go over it, so like she doesn't have to do like finished pieces of it because I'm probably gonna try to stick the characters back to the way that I'm comfortable with them. So.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm just super stoked that she's helping with that. We flirted with getting someone else to do some work on it for If It Hops, and we're hiring and trying to get people to do stuff, and obviously I'm jumping on way too many projects, so
Yeah.
we're trying to flesh out our cast with people who can do some of the stuff that I'm working on.
And I respect that because I mean, as much as we absolutely adore your art and we want to see more, we don't want you burning out. We want you to be able to be able to focus on providing that quality that you love to put out. So
I appreciate that.
So
Yeah,
it's a balance again.
I'm going to burn out. Just that's what's going to happen.
Well, hopefully you'll take a break and then you can come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, don't do what Mark Bagley did with Spider-Man in the 90s and 2000s and do every cover, everything, and then everybody asked, well, "Who's going to do the covers?" It's my book. I do it all.
Yeah.
And then there's no creative support for it, so you got burnt
Yeah.
out. So yes, we are trying to avoid that for you. Same way with Devin too. Devin does a lot of stuff too. Devin and Mitch.
Really does,
Oh, yeah.
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 We're working with some writers and some other, and again, we're working with a lot of different artists, but we are trying to expand and broaden our library of what we're putting out, as well as the kind of work we are. So actually, I might talk out of turn again. We got a writer who I am mad jealous that I'm not going to be working on the project because it's going to be. Okay, sorry. Slow down before I just blah, 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 blah.
Don't say his name.
um, so the world and universe that the story is going to be in for one of the artists, or sorry, writers that we're introducing, is kind of something that I have spent years and years and years, um, like buying all the historical relevant type works on
Oh,
it, and I am overly jealous that I'm probably not going to have enough time to be the artist on the book, and y'all are sick of me anyways. So,
Nah.
yeah,
yeah,
uh,
that's one of the downsides to expanding, like you said, the staff and the creative pool that you have is
mhm.
that when there will be projects maybe that might be a personal love that unfortunately then you probably won't be able to work on. But
Yeah, I'll get to
so,
do a
but hopefully down
cover.
the road,
Yeah, I'll
another
get to
time
do a
you'll be
cover
able.
because I'm a boss. But yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, I interrupted you. I'm a jerk. Go ahead.
yeah, we love you anyway. It's all good.
Ooh.
Well, it's like
So,
Alberti, for example, he's doing the interiors for Frog Legs, and I've
Mhm.
known him for a long time. Like when he was just doing like standard pinup art, in Brazil, sitting there saying, "Will you come buy my art?"
Hey, oh yeah,
okay.
And I'm like, "Let me see, what can you do for this?" He says, "Well, let me go draw this, and I'll give you the roughs." And like 2 days later, he came back. The full roughs are done. The inks are done. And I'm like, okay, he's about ready to go to color, and he's like, you like it? I'm like, dude, this looks phenomenal.
yeah.
Like some of the work he did. I'm like, he said, how much is your? And the whole package at the time was very, very reasonable.
Hmm.
And he said, oh yeah, I've already got like a preliminary color done. I got
Yeah,
the
don't worry
ideas
about
of
it,
the,
bud.
and I'm like,
By the
so
way,
he's
Right?
like, oh yeah, I'll be done tomorrow, and I'm like, holy crap, dude.
No, he
And
works, man.
it looks amazing. Like I love how he does things, like the style he does.
Hmm.
And he knew what in the only hard thing is sometimes the barrier in language.
Yeah.
ah,
Um because I was telling him, hey, I want this certain character done this certain way, and he wasn't understanding. And then we finally figured it out. I'm like, yeah, like this, do like this, and he's like, oh, okay, that's easy.
Right.
6 hours later, I'm done. I'm
There you go.
like,
yep.
okay. And so it took him longer to mail it to me than it did actually to do the artwork.
Hey, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's
Um,
funny. That's great, but it's funny.
I mean,
Yeah, the
he's
language
one of the
barriers,
good
I
ones.
imagine.
I don't know if he's using Google Translate or something, but yeah, he is very, very good at feedback and working things. So I respect him. I know he's going to go far. Like we're
Mm.
very lucky to
Awesome.
have him because I mean, his pinups alone are stellar. And then, like, so he's going to have more than a little bit for his future in comics. And then, so we're getting him. That's why I wanted him on a full book to do the interiors. I tricked him, is what I like to say. That I was like, yeah, just if you do the interiors, I mean, it's a bit of work, but it's not too bad. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I'll try it. I was like, ha, gotcha.
Reel it in.
But yeah,
Oh,
he's worked in that one, and he's really good with refining and going over stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm very happy.
I love it too with your efforts to, like you said, not take on too much and expand and grow, the creative pool and the staff.
Hmm.
We are the ultimate benefits of that because we get to experience all these incredibly wonderful new artists that we may have never seen. We
Yeah,
go out and find them. It's like, the interior artists or colors or inkers or, cover artists, whatever.
hmm,
It's like, that's a new name. Oh my
yep,
God, they're amazing. So,
exactly. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
If you
Dustin
ever
keeps
get,
sending us. Go ahead.
if you ever get a chance, check out the Ed Bennett studio people. I
Yeah,
mean, they have a lot of good people. Like Elsie Freitas was
Yep.
yeah.
was part of that for a long time.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He
really?
was part of
Okay.
that.
Yep, Elsie was part of that. You've got was Nancy Vascolanos. She was part of that for a while.
Nancy. Oh, wow. All right.
But
Those are names I know.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. Is like this, the Bennett studio produces a lot of good people out of it.
Hmm.
It's
That's
just
awesome.
you just don't hear a lot of it because of all the bigger names that's in the business today.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, but I had one here. Let me show you. I know this is not ethereal, but
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
this is Rick Walkerman, and Walkerman's another one. From
Okay.
that area. But you got to give those kind of guys the chance to prove
Yep.
themselves so they can get into the business like everybody else did.
Mhm.
And it's not like you're fighting to get to Marvel or DC either. You know,
Yeah.
you're fighting to get into an independent company where we're a little, I would say, a little more lenient. As far as trying to get stuff done, you still want good quality, but you're willing to give people a bigger chance.
When we're able to look at people's potential and be like, okay, so they're already doing this pretty well, and I think they could handle maybe this, and then try to give them the opportunity to show that they can, or like what they're working on. I think that's one of the coolest things. The new artists that we're working with.
You give them a chance to get that foundation of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as much as working like the Marvels and the DCs would be amazing and everything else, getting your foot in the door with those, so hard. So, but yeah, but if they can, hone their craft and put out a great product for you guys, and then get their name out there, and then so hopefully they stay. Maybe they move on, but but yeah, it's all about growth and then bringing in new.
Yeah. Well, we're still expanding and looking for even more opportunities to try to get in front of more people, because the more that we can grow and the more people that follow us and appreciate our work, the more we can actually expand even more, and then we can get moving towards different mediums. We could maybe start looking more into animation and stuff. So Dustin's just every single other week, it's like, hey man, we should get this. Like, imagine Baby Square Dinosaur, but like an animated version. That would be so cool. That'd be so cool.
Oh my god, an animated BDD, that's a scary thought. Cool.
That's so hardcore. That'd be badass.
That would be amazing.
But I'm like, Dustin, that costs a lot of money. You gotta work on stuff. And I mean,
Scale it back a little bit.
It would do so well though. It's so cool though.
Well, some of that
He's
too
like,
is because of his
here,
background.
and then bring it back.
Yeah. I'm ready. That's like more than half of the time I'm talking with him. It's like, okay, but yeah.
Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to what we're working on now.
I agree. That would be cool, and it will be cool, and we'll get there. We're working.
That is, I think, I imagine. I mean, obviously, I don't work with you guys, but I would imagine that is part of what the success is, though, is that his enthusiasm and the ideas and everything else, and the far-reaching thought process of how to keep this growing is some of the way that that's the major motivation for it.
Yeah, everything's so good. So yeah.
Well, like for me, I mean, I was brought to Ethereal by April. April was my connection to Ethereal because we all love April.
Yeah, we're missing her.
But she was the one who got me kind of involved in Ethereal because I was reading Naughty Fairies with Wendy, Shaner, and those guys, and then she's like, "Well, we're working on this thing," and I saw her working on Artist Alley that one day. She's like, "Well, we're doing this thing for Ethereal." I'm like, "What's Ethereal?" And she's like, "Oh, this is this." I'm like, "Let me go look at that." And then it was kind of over after that. It's like got me. I was done.
April brought me into Ethereal as well, to be honest. So I think with her Greed cover, because I knew her through Wendy and a few other things, and so got to know her work. And then I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?"
Oh yeah.
Yep. And the rest is history.
And now you're stuck.
And now,
yep. It did what I got told. David Bassey's here, which I've been reading, and looking at his stuff for years and years. With Cave Woman. I've been doing that, and Bud Root had it, and Devin took over, and then seeing Mitch as well, Dave, the Kemp brothers, too, and Ocampo, and I'm like, man, these are all people I already know. It's just, it was kind of cool to see, like, everybody lives here in Ethereal.
Yep.
And it's like, these are all the people that we've been, seeing, and you might not have known who the artist was at the time. Yep. But you start putting two and two together, you're like, oh yeah, there is a person that, oh yeah, you're the Kim that did all that artwork back for Image for Spawn.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm like
I don't have all the history and everything else. So when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, names I know, titles I know. That's how they connect.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, it was the colors for Spawn for years.
That's really cool. Okay.
Colored the work for Daredevil, for the Joe Quesada stuff. That was pretty much the inspiration for the Daredevil movie. Like
Oh, wow.
legit.
The Marvel
Really good
Knights
stuff.
era.
That is really cool. I did not know that.
Yep.
It's just like, it's funny. It's like the colorist used to be, like we were talking earlier, the third person that got to a lot of things. But there was like colorist companies at one point where the
Yeah.
company.
Original Image had
Mhm.
a couple people who eventually founded their own entire studios. So anything like Joe Mad Illustrated is usually colored by Liquid, and that's pretty much a pseudonym for a couple people, but it is eventually a whole studio.
Yeah. And it was crazy how that used to happen. Like for a while, like Nia Rufino was another one. She worked with everybody, like everybody. She was doing coloring.
She's still working with everybody.
I mean, yeah, especially like I've seen so many that she does, and I've known her for a long
She
time.
does a lot of the Xenoscope stuff, right?
Yep,
She does
know she's done Marvel
Xenoscope,
and DC.
BDI.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And she's I saw her live show last night, and she said, actually, I just saw coming out, she's doing some new Grim Fairy Tales covers. There we go. So she's really excited about them being released.
What was that?
Grim Fairy Tales was in a
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so happy to see her go back to it but that's where I really got introduced to her was that one was Grim Fairy Tales,
Mhm.
and then seeing her do all the Coffin, Lady Death stuff, and then doing her own books too. She did a lot of like the Onward books. So, and I'm excited because I'm waiting on my spring box to get here. So,
Oh, you got one of the spring boxes. Awesome.
I get one every time.
That's really amazing. Yep.
Um,
Budgetary, hello. As much as I spent on her live show last night, I probably could have just bought the spring box, but
and usually what
supporting the artist, that's good.
it's a balance. Yeah.
I mean, I've got original art from her that took me a long time to get, but that's the other catch too, is that we work with a lot of good people where they'll work payment plans, support functions, whatever you need to do to get, because they know you really want it and they know you'll pay for it. It's just not everybody has $2,000, $3,000 just to drop on a dime or in a way.
I think I am very lucky in knowing like you guys and Dustin and everybody else in that field, because pretty much everybody that I know artist wise, that if I want something, like you said, all I have to let them know is say, I really, really want it. I love it. It's amazing. I just don't have it. We're happy. Yeah, we'll work with you. Fine. It's what you need. What do we need to set up? How much can you do? I'm like, so yep. I appreciate that humanity of that.
Yeah, I won't tell you, Shotty, what I bought off of Blayton.
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting it with Dustin's next shipment, so it should be heading out.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's
Actually,
gonna be.
I'd be willing to sell this one too. So
Really? I know. Am I gonna be fighting Nate for it?
Not Nate, because Nate's got to spend money tomorrow at the convention.
That's right. What convention are you going to?
I'm going to Texas Frightmare weekend.
Fun.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have John Carpenter, we're gonna have Sam Raimi, we're gonna have everyone from Sleepaway Camp, everybody from The Thing, minus Kurt Russell. So I'm like, yeah,
That's impressive.
There's gonna be a lot of money spent tomorrow.
Yes.
And it doesn't help too. Like Fangoria is gonna be there. Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, all the movie companies that I buy from the boutique labels, that's not going to help either. So
you're just going to walk around with your wallet open?
Well, and I'm pressed this year, so I have to go in and do videos inside, so
you got to work it. Yep, got to. Yeah.
So it's
which I imagine it can be its own entertainment in a way. I mean, just because you get to see a different aspect of it.
It is, and I highly recommend anybody that, if you have YouTube, just ask the question, to the convention. Hey, do you guys have press passes? Because I'd like to record in there and show what you guys have. It's good. It's free publicity for them.
Yeah.
It's like I was telling Dustin, I need an Ethereal shirt because then I could walk around in a convention with an Ethereal shirt saying, hey, come buy from Ethereal.
There you go. Walking advertisement. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, good. That means my chance of getting something from Blayton has gone up a little bit. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to get one original cover from each book,
Nice.
Okay.
and so the next one's going to Devin for. So I'm going after a penny book.
Yep.
There you go. That'll be fun. That's a cool goal to have, though. I think it's gotta watch your budget, but it's an expensive goal, but
It is,
it's a fun goal.
but it isn't the Jim Lee OA expensive goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do. That is the other thing. One of the things I do love about the indies is not that again, it's not that you guys are cheap, you're worth the money, but it's like it's affordable.
Well,
I see some of them out there, and I'm like, first off, they don't know me, and they wouldn't give me a payment plan, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like giving up a kidney to be able to afford that.
Agreed. No, I get that. I don't think people, even if they are like big time getting all the projects and all that stuff, I don't feel like it's really. They don't need to be charging that much, anyways. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, some of it I agree. I think it's worth it. There's a certain, but you get to a certain price point, and I'm like, is it gold leaf? Does it come from? I mean,
are you helping people? Are you?
What am I exactly am I buying here?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and like I'm showing here, this is the current Kickstarter. You know, you're looking at $15 for a cover.
Yeah.
I mean, starting out just for the regular cover. That's a very fair price. You know, you think about. Then there's some of them that start out $20, $25, $30. You know, and it's like,
$50 for one book. And it's like a 21-page book for $50. Like,
yeah.
You're not making money. You're not making anything off of that. Like,
no.
Yeah. I mean, it'll depend on who it is. There's a few definitely Kickstarters that I like to support artists and creators.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand not everybody has the wherewithal to be able to be flexible. It's all different. But yeah, there was a couple of them like, oh, I want to support, so I'll get a cover, but it's like the cover price may not be too bad, but then you add in the shipping and everything else, and by the time I'm like, I can only afford one, because between that cover price and the shipping, I'm like, there's a couple other covers I really love, but guess what? This is it.
Right? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I understand it, but it's like makes me a little sad sometimes. I'm like,
yeah,
but yeah.
Well, it's like in this one, you know, you get a sketch by April for $150.
That's amazing.
That's a good deal.
That's a really good deal. Yeah.
You know, there's the Kill Cam interior pages. You know, those are $175 each. You know, an interior page, that's pretty decent. You know, most of the time they're $250 to $350.
Well, I mean, look how pretty those are.
There you
Exactly.
go. Yep.
Then you've got there we go, a sketch by Bladen, $180.
Bum, bum, bum.
There you go.
Okay. Then
Is that custom? What is that? I don't know if I agreed to all that.
it says you pick which sketch cover.
Were you not
underline,
consulted?
I just told Dustin, like, I'll do whatever. Just let me know what to do afterwards. He's like, okay.
That could be dangerous. You got to watch out.
I know, right?
Look at here, the original cover art for Kill Cam from
I wonder who
Bladen's book.
snagged that.
Is it gone? It's gone.
It's gone. It's not me.
No, I thought you had it.
No, not this one.
Not this one. No.
Not this.
Some lucky person is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I went with the connecting cover set.
Yep. Oh wow! Look at that detail.
I spent a little while on this. I wanted it to be really good.
There we go.
There are a few pieces I'm proud of. This is one of them.
It's stunning.
It's quite potent. It's big. Look at my hand. It's huge.
Oh jeez, it is big.
I'm at 11 by 17.
And were your eyes crossed by the time you finished it up?
It took me a couple sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, in the script for this piece right here, so she's going in to catch these guys, and one of these guys has a bounty, and she is kind of clever and silly, and this weird robot slug waiter thing asks her what she wants for her drink, and she goes, "I'm gonna have whatever they're having," and points to these guys, and they're like, "What?"
I love her eyebrows.
Oh,
Just the expression on her face is great.
She is playful and fun, and she knows what she's got. She knows she's not in danger. She is, I don't want to say never in danger. She is definitely capable of working some stuff. So, yeah.
It's funny that they put her in there versus one of the other two.
Yeah.
It's putting the human into the mix versus the rabbit or the mermaidness. Because it's in most alien movies, typically you put the human into it. We're the idiots, typically.
It's true. That's true.
We're the idiots.
We're either the comic relief or the cannon fodder.
Yeah. Well, that's any fantasy situation. The elves are like, yes, this is my pet human who I've had for 20 years. They die so young.
Like, they're so fragile.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, look at them. They're bleeding again. I lost my arms.
I'll have to get a new one. I'm going to go get a new human.
Oh, silly humans.
It would be funny, like, if you think about it, is like if they watch an episode of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah.
I've lost my arms. I've lost my legs. I can
Come
still
back, I'll
function.
bite your kneecaps off.
Right? I'm invincible. You're a loony.
God, I love that movie.
We're showing our age now, though.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
We just lost all the tweens.
That's all right.
Because we had twins.
They can stay lost for a while.
That's right.
We started talking about Die Hard and Lethal Weapon with Joe Pesci, and they'd be like, "What?" Or Highlander with Christopher Lambert.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Best movie ever. Yeah.
Oh yes.
There can be only one. I love it.
Just not the third movie or the end game one.
Anything after the first one doesn't count. We're not going into aliens here. Stop it.
Or the future, back to the Highlander future.
Oh no. Stop it.
I know, it was like, the rest of the movies was like.
They jumped the shark before jumping the shark was a thing.
But it was sad though. It was like
they jumped something, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
Like I watched the TV show, in the 90s, a whole series. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that series. But then it's like in the end game, okay, Adrian Paul kills Christopher Lambert to become one with him. Like, what the hell? Christopher Lambert's supposed to be the strongest Highlander ever. It's like
I was like, I'm confused.
Yeah. I guess I'm out.
Yeah. But I took it for the grain of it. It was like, it's entertaining. That was kind of my end all be all of like, okay. Moving on, next movie.
How old was Christopher when he was working on that? Like, I get it.
I mean, when he couldn't do it, there was like a 15-year gap between him and Adrian Paul, at the time.
Yeah.
But the funny part is like the next movie, the Source was even worse. I don't no! I got to tell you.
No, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
You have to watch that one.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. It is so. It will ruin everything Highlander you've ever watched.
Stop now. I don't want to hear
it. You're not selling it, Nate. He's like, no.
You're not doing yourself any favors here.
I'm actually trying to get you not to watch it.
You'll hate everything. You'll blow your
It'll ruin everything
while you're watching it.
It's like, no.
Hell no.
I think I'm with you, Blaine. Just stick with the original movie.
Yeah, we're done. We're good.
Well, and they're about to remake it too, so it's going to have.
I heard.
Really?
I heard they had been trying, but didn't get anything. So I was going to stick with that. That's fine.
They're sourcing Cavill to be the new Highlander.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. He is an actually really good actor.
He is.
And his swordsmanship, he specifically, like, his weight training is done in respect for swordsmanship. Like, that's,
I mean, you watched him in The Witcher, you knew that he came to play in that
Yeah.
show.
Well, he was talking about his workouts for The Witcher. Like they worked on just like say this is his back. They worked on specific muscles so he could use the sword, so he could use it for like swinging but holding off instead of whatever.
So
Sorry.
you can use it the way it actually was supposed to be used in actual.
Yeah, like
That's
mad
intense.
respect. So
Yeah, I do like him. If it works out and he's going to be in that, then
but he's
I-
the only
I
one.
would shot.
Yes. So
I
and
wish
I
it-
I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, oh, I'm done with The Witcher now, but I'm definitely probably gonna be done after him. So
I had a hard
I'm-
time watching The Witcher because playing the game. After playing 1, 2, and the Wild Hunt, I'm like, okay, this is not exactly the same.
it's
You
not.
know, but I'm like, and it's never going to be because that's just how TV is. But at least Last of Us has been pretty much bar none on par with the game.
Yeah,
There's some
that's
creative changes which you have to do because of what's limitations, but
it's like 10 years later too. Yeah.
mhm.
No, I get you.
now that it's done, I think I'll just go probably and binge it. I didn't want to watch it originally, but I'm
Yeah.
not a gamer, obviously.
No worries. no worries.
And you
But
don't have to be to watch this one.
But
I
the
mean,
Cubs is, and so I enjoyed watching him play The Last of Us, and he got through the whole. So it was very. So I understood the storyline. It was. I love. It's for me. It's like it's kind of a mini movie with action scenes. So
With
I like
frustration
watching
and
video games.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking forward to seeing. And I think I've heard really good things about The Last of Us. So
I enjoyed it.
I mean, and they picked the best actors to be that they could have got. I mean, now granted, could have been somebody other than Pedro Pascal, probably could have,
Yeah.
but he plays the role so well,
Mhm.
And the girl who plays in it too. I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know, like she's a full grown adult, and she's been acting for years.
Well, she was Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I always have to laugh how they do that. Sometimes it's when certain actors and actresses, actors in general play an age role, and then you find out what their real age is. You're like,
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been anything quite as heinous as like Grease since then. Like,
Oh yeah.
you went there. Thank you for going there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. These are supposed to be high school students.
Like,
Are
oh,
you
well, why is that
kidding
guy
me?
got gray hairs already? Like, what?
He got those in shop class.
Oh yeah. It was a traumatic event.
He burned his hair.
Oh, my dad ended up having to teach shop for a while. He would agree with that.
Stress alone will get you.
Oh yeah. I remember going to shop class when I was in trade school. Oh, I'll never forget that. There's always somebody getting hurt.
Yep.
Somebody doing something stupid.
Well, that's how you learn life lessons. That's part of it.
Yeah, but you don't have to slam the car door on your hand 5 times.
Not 5 times, maybe
Some
twice.
people do. Some people
Well,
do.
yeah.
I'm just
And they
gonna
still
say,
don't learn.
Yep. And you just can't teach that. I mean, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. And that's how I've gotten through life.
Well, that's what I always said. You can't fix stupid.
That's right. Yep. That's what my dad told me. And well.
All right. So with that being said, we've got
We digressed a little bit.
we did digress a whole lot, but that's okay. That's what
That's
we're
right.
here for. That's why we don't care. We just talk about anything.
Right.
So we've got Underland 2 and Kill Cam. We've got My Metal Girl coming up. There's another book that is very high on my list to read, and I've read the whole script. And it's There Be Shadows.
I was going to say,
You guys are in for a freaking treat when you get to see some of this stuff. Like I've seen some of the pages already. I saw the colored one today. Dustin sent me, and I'm like, holy crap!
Cover?
The interior page.
mm-hmm.
Nice, yeah.
So there is going to be some scared kids if they ever read this book. I will tell you that.
Read at your own risk.
Yeah, it really is. But it's funny because it's not a really scary story. You know,
Okay.
it's just the way it's brought in, like the elements of the horror, the elements of the suspense into it, is what makes it scary.
So the way it's
Uh,
presented.
yeah, um,
Cool.
because you would think it would be. I can't say everything yet because I know Justin will kill me. But there are elements of this that, if you remember older storylines, older things like when we were kids that we watched, or things
Mhm.
like that, um, that you would, pull up a cover over your eyes, or up to your knees or something like that when you were scared in the bed. The monster in the closet or the monster under the bed kind of situations. Uh, that's how the scare tactic is in the book. Um, and tell me if I'm getting too far out, Bladen, but this one will scare you just because of that. It'll bring back those kind of like thoughts that you've had.
No, that's
Uh,
perfect. And yeah, all the
And
pages leading to it are, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not like overtly like, we're gonna just scare you, but like the build up is
mm,
slow and it's
sounds more
thoughtful.
visceral.
it
Yeah,
is. It
Okay.
truly is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those things like if you watched Halloween, like Halloween is not a scary movie. And there's not really jump scares in the movie either, but it's that tension, that
Hmm.
yep,
tension and
tension. That's it.
suspense
Okay.
Yep.
That's
that's
a good
being,
word. Yeah.
it's bringing it into your, like, you're getting engaged, and then it's like, there it is, and then it happens, and you're like, oh crap, what do I do now?
It's almost too late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too late.
So it's snap.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
it's like something might not be right here. I don't know what's going.
yeah, and it's too late by the time you got to that point. You're like, oh
Mhm.
crap.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm very excited and very intrigued, and I can't wait for it. So, yeah,
yeah,
Dustin, probably not as much as you, Nate, and everything else, just because of your role. But every now and he'll share interior scenes and things, little hints and previews. And so yeah, so every time he does, I'm like, oh, what's this?
yeah. So I will play it safe. If he's posted it on the Ethereal page,
Oh, that's different.
I'll bring it up.
Okay.
And I'm
That's
okay.
smart.
Because I like my job.
No,
um,
I totally respect that. No, yeah, if it's already kind of gone out there,
If
then
it's
yeah,
public,
exactly.
yeah,
If it's
I
public,
agree.
we will go over it all day long. Just like
Otherwise,
My Metal Girl, that's coming out soon too. So we will definitely see.
Is that our next campaign, Nate? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm
My Metal
lost in
Girl's
thought.
next. Yeah,
yeah.
I just do the lines. I don't know what's going on.
yeah. My Metal Girl's next, and then we've got There Will Be Shadows.
Mm,
And then
And
If It Hops 3
yes.
okay. And is Cretaceous after that,
and
or
Cretaceous Biohazard. So
Oh,
we've got a lot coming up.
Mhm.
guys, Cretaceous is nuts. Like the art style is very different from mine, and he can move the characters. Like that's my thing. Like cartooning is more important than like perfect, beautiful rendering. If you can move a character and like actually show that they're pushing and using force or something, that is just chef's kiss type thing. And Brian Azura, something.
As
Um,
girl. Yeah.
yeah, he
We'll
is
just call him
doing
Brian.
so well. Yeah, Brian is just. I'm loving it. I'm gonna have to get some original pages myself because it is so good,
That is a
super
huge
good.
selling point. Yeah, because
Yeah, it's definitely not my style. It's not the style that I do with my stuff. It's more graphic and more. I don't want to say like Magnolia specifically, but it is like
Yeah.
kind of more shapes and planes versus mine, which I don't know. Well, this is just garbage. But this stuff is crazy good.
from the little bits, the very few preview things that you've shown, yeah, I can see what you're saying and where you're going
Oh
with
yeah.
that. So I'm really looking forward to, like you said, seeing that movement.
Well,
That
each page is getting better than the last. I didn't
that's
interrupt you.
amazing.
Man. Sorry.
No, I'm just excited. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to make it easier so everybody can see, it's like just the lines here. I mean, especially at the bottom, like that kind of looks almost like a Kincaid, almost
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
kind of style. You got the Kincaid with Magnolia, the blacks, especially the darker blacks.
I was going to say the
That-
shadowing is, I think
Yeah.
that really adds a lot to it, really
Mhm.
brings that feeling to it as well.
And then this one, and that's what I like about the style in this book. It's two different pieces here. You've got the one that shows them all together, but then this is the initial. It's just going in, and this was one of my edits for the story. Is like I had a question about this, and he had to show me this before he showed it to everybody else. Because I had a question. I'm like, how did you get from here to here, and what shows this? And then this little panel there at the bottom where it shows him stopping, and saying, "Hey, stop," and he hits the button. Okay, that makes sense. That makes logical sense.
Okay.
Reading some of this stuff is sometimes different than visualizing it. So
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
So the visualization definitely helps out with this.
Well, I think sometimes you have it's got to be sometimes a little tough, Nate, because like you said, I mean, comics inherently are a visual medium. And
Mhm.
so you're doing that. So when you have a script that you're reviewing, yeah, it's like, well, you can see something in your head, but is that truly what, the writers portrayed for the page? And so I think, yeah, so that's an interesting conundrum sometimes to have. So hence the communication.
Exactly. That's why I ask questions. And I guarantee you, Bladen asks questions all day or yells and screams.
As long as he's not flipping tables, we're fine.
Yeah. Especially your art table; those are heavy.
No
Yeah.
flipping art tables.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's all I had for tonight. Bladen, did you have anything else that you wanted to go through tonight?
I don't think so. I think you were MC for the night, so I think you've done well. I think,
I try.
yeah, in Justin's absence, I hope we made something worth a little bit of someone's time. So,
Well, I hope everybody has a good night, and thank you, Shawnee, for jumping in
Thank you
with
for
us.
inviting me. It's always fun to hang out with you guys. So I enjoy it.
And thank you, Bladen. I appreciate you.
well, I'm just showing how the sausage is made over here. So,
Hey,
yeah,
somebody got to make it so we can eat it.
that's right.
That's right.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys on the next round.
Sounds great.
All right.
All right.